So last week I put out a video reviewing some of my favourite Android launchers that you can download right now in 2020, and at the end of it I asked you beautiful bunch to throw your own personal recommendations at me, your own favourite Android launchers that I should definitely check out. Now a huge thanks to everyone who got involved. I got dozens and dozens of brilliant recommendations here. Some of them I had already covered in the 2019 viewer recommendations video, so the likes of Launcher 10, the Square Home Launcher and the Before Launcher. If I remember, I'll stick one of those linky bits up here linking to that Android 2019 launcher recommendations video. Go check that out for more, and then come straight back here because here are 5 of the best launchers that you guys reckon I should check out for 2020. So let's get stuck in, and for more on the latest greatest tech, please do plug, subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! So first up is the Poco Launcher 2.0. As popularised by the brilliant Poco phones, the sleek Poco Launcher has now been updated to play nicely with Android 10, complete with some of the latest features like a proper dark mode to save on energy and also save your peepers. If you're not familiar with the Poco Launcher, it's basically a fast and light option that won't sap your battery life or pilfer your phone's resources. I definitely love the simple minimalist design. That stock Android layout hasn't been molested, it's just been tweaked with plenty of cool little improvements. So for instance, you've still got an apps tray thankfully, and this includes groups of apps based on type, so you can quickly access all of your games, messaging apps, media streamers and so on. Or alternatively, you can also cluster them all based on the icon colour. You can easily pull out that notifications bar just by swiping down from anywhere on the desktop. Definitely handy if your phone is f***ing enormous, like basically any phone now. While conjuring up the Google Assistant, it's but a quick and simple swipe from that bottom corner. A nifty desktop shortcut can also be tapped to cleanse the memory and speed things up when required. And despite the simple layout, there's still a fairly respectable level of customization with the Poco Launcher. You can chuck in your own icon packs as well as playing around with grid sizes and other shenanigans. It is obviously quite limited in that respect compared with alternatives like the Nova Launcher for instance, but if you just want a lightweight launcher that's both neat and tidy, then Poco Launcher is definitely worth a squint. Next up in the top 5 Android launchers recommended by you fine folk is the ASAP Launcher. Getting things done faster is the tagline for the ASAP Launcher, which I guess kind of makes sense given that name. Now this launcher changes how the Android interface works quite significantly. For instance, your apps tray is now accessed with a quick swipe from the left edge, while the dock down below is automatically populated with your most used apps. You can actually stick in your own along that top row as well by dragging them into place. And you can call up the notifications tab with just a quick double tap of that desktop as well, handy again with a massive smartphone. Either side of your home screen you'll find pages dedicated to the likes of your contacts, the weather, your calendar and your to-do list. If you like to stay organised, it is a great little setup, and that page order can be altered, while any that you don't want can be killed off as well. I don't know about you, but I certainly don't need an entire fifth of my desktop space dedicated to whether I'm going to get rained on at some point. I live in the UK, spoiler alert, it's probably going to piss it down. Besides which, there's a little weather update bit in the home screen widget as well, which is pretty much the only thing that's actually allowed on your main desktop. It's certainly a clutter-free setup, allowing you to fully enjoy your wallpaper, although to be honest it does also seem like a bit of a waste of space. You can tweak the colours of the launcher, add in your own icons, all that kind of shenanigans, but only if you upgrade to the Prime version of the app, which to be fair at £1.19 ain't exactly going to put you in the poorhouse. My next favourite Android launcher that you guys recommended is the BlackBerry launcher. Now if you've used any of BlackBerry's Android-based smartphones like the Priv for instance, you know just how great that BlackBerry launcher really is, and while the version that you can download from the Google Play Store isn't quite as fully featured, it's still pretty damn nifty. As you'd probably expect, this launcher is all about staying organised. One of my favourite features is the task shortcuts, which definitely saves buckets of time on anything you do over and over. Just shove one on your desktop and you can jump straight into that specific action rather than tapping your way to it through the relevant app. And if you find that you use a lot of different apps and your desktops are packed full of different widgets as well, then BlackBerry definitely has you covered there. Now you can hide those widgets away and reveal them with just a quick swipe over the app icon instead. It's a really neat and tidy setup and it works a treat. And of course you can use all of BlackBerry's own apps for your mail, messages and the rest, or just stick with your preferred alternatives. However, after 30 days of using this launcher, you will have to start stumping up for a monthly subscription to the BlackBerry launcher, or else put up with the occasional adverts popping up as well. And as a subscription costs you 89p a month, an ongoing cost that's over 10 quid a year, making this one of the more expensive options out there, at least if you don't own a BlackBerry. And next in this roundup of recommended Android launchers is the X Launcher. The easiest way of describing X Launcher is it's basically as if Android and iOS made up their differences and then f***ed like crazy, and 9 months later, this would be the result. Immediately upon loading this thing up, you will notice that Apple's styling. Those iconic square icons, the same folder setup, the iOS theming, and so on. But like Android, you can also populate your desktops however you like, and that includes shoving in the odd widget or two. Thankfully, X Launcher doesn't kill off the apps tray either, so you can actually hide away your apps without having to resort to folders. Swipe down on your desktops and you won't pull down the notifications bar, but rather an iOS style control center, handy for fast access to all of your toggles and quick settings. But you can still check your weight and notifications just by swiping from the very top of the screen. And this setup can be changed to suit your personal preferences in the X Launcher settings. Unfortunately, you do get some tiny little ads popping up in the apps tray, but they are very discreet, like this weird little part envelope thing bouncing around in the corner. And the X Launcher is completely free to download and customize. There's even a 3D touch style feature where you long press on a supported app for jumping straight into a particular feature. Nice. So basically the X Launcher is kind of a best of both worlds scenario. If you really admire that Apple design work, the stylings and everything, but you can't bear to give up the more open nature of Android, the personalisation and customization side of things, then definitely give it a whirl. And last up in this Android launcher lineup is the Poco Launcher. Now, just like ASAP, the Poco Launcher is all about getting things done. No piddling about here. That home screen has been completely redesigned so you can open up whichever app you need as speedily as possible. Now, this is one seriously stripped back regime. Just the one desktop page, 0 widgets, and a very minimalist design, plus very little in the way of customization, so it definitely isn't for everyone. Poco Launcher can apparently learn over time which apps you use the most and when. So a news app first thing in the morning, Netflix whenever you're commuting, that sort of thing. And the Poco Launcher can then apparently make smart predictions on which apps you're required at any specific point based on basically the time of day and your current location, and then populate them in this 2x4 grid up here. I've only been using the Poco Launcher for a very short time, so I can't exactly say how effective that is, but it certainly seems to be learning which apps I use the most frequently so far. And if the specific app you need isn't displayed in that grid, then no worries. Just start typing its name in the ever-present keypad down below and it'll pop right up. Job done. You can also quickly call up a Google search bar at any time with a swipe down the desktop, which includes a full list of your recent searches. And I really like how swiping across an app icon gives you fast access to specific features, for instance jumping into your YouTube subscriptions or that weird creepy shit that is currently trending. So the Poco Launcher is definitely stripped back, yeah, but it is also a proper time saver as well once you get used to it. So that right there is the top 5 new Android launchers that you guys recommended I should check out for 2020. Definitely some diverse efforts in there and some really enjoyable ones as well, especially if time saving is an absolute must. So if you've got any more recommendations, definitely feel free to bung them down below. Thank you very much for watching. Please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell and have yourselves a lovely week. Cheers.